in a world that delights in watching you fall. You believed the crowd would cheer for your pain. But listen closely. The real power lies not in their applause, but in the silence when you rise alone. No crowds, no comfort, no mercy. Only the quiet certainty that you are more than what they tried to break. I know the lessons life carved into your flesh. Brutal lessons, each one a scar. The ones you trusted most treated you like a doormat, as if your kindness was theirs to plunder. They took your care as if it cost them nothing, while every gesture drained your peace, your energy, pieces of your soul you will never reclaim. They kept taking and taking until you were hollow, worn down, broken inside. And when you had nothing left, they discarded you like trash, as if you were nothing but a temporary inconvenience. Replaceable. Clearance shelf. That was the message they sent, loud and clear, even without words. Yet here you stand, still breathing, still dangerous, because someone who has walked through hell and refuses to bow is a problem for every fool who doubted you. People who suffer and endure do not see the world with the same eyes. They do not love the same way. They do not trust so easily. They become something different, tougher, colder, sharper. And that transformation, it unsettles the weak. It shatters their fairy tales about human nature. Think of the fools who laughed when you struggled. They believed you would stay down forever, that you would vanish like a ghost in their rearview mirror. But life has its own cruel humor. It does not simply tear you apart. It forges you, if you let it. Every wound became a lesson, not wrapped in ribbons, not softened with comfort. Lessons carved in scars, etched in the pain you survived. Even shattered, you were never weak. You became something new, tougher, more resilient, a blade tempered in fire. Have you noticed how many preach loyalty, yet vanish when the storm arrives? Parrots squawking about fidelity, then fleeing faster than a magician's rabbit. And when the storm passed, they crawled back, pretending nothing happened. You gave them love, respect, your heart, and they returned wounds, disappointment, empty promises. You opened your soul and they shattered it into pieces, sharp enough to cut deeper than any knife. And you sat there, asking yourself, what did I do wrong? But that was never the right question. The truth is simpler. You let them close enough to strike. Here is the brutal truth. They did not hurt you by mistake. They hurt you because they had the chance. Life offers no warning signs, no flashing lights to mark the traitors. No one will hold your hand in the fire. You walk alone. Loneliness is the heaviest burden. It feels like carrying a mountain on your back. But that burden is also a training ground. It teaches you to rely only on yourself, to guard your heart, to become your own fortress. Once you learn to stand alone in the darkest hours, no one can wound you the same way again. That strength is yours, earned through fire. and no thief can take it. They wanted you broken, begging for mercy, pleading for their approval. But you endured. You breathed. You transformed pain into power. One day they will see the mistake they made. They will see the person you have become. Someone who no longer needs their validation, who no longer forgives so easily, who does not break the same way twice. Yes, you have been hurt. That much is true. But that is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a new chapter. This chapter is where you become more cautious with whom you share your trust. When others finally witness the person you have become, built from your quiet resilience and your struggles, they will regret ever causing you pain. You carry invisible wounds that nobody sees. People look at your smile, your laugh, and assume you are fine. They think you are strong enough to handle everything life throws at you because you do not complain, because you do not show your pain. But deep down, you know what it is like to be shattered inside and still have to put on a brave face, pretending everything is all right. That is the real torment, wearing a mask every day while your soul screams behind it. The world applauds the mask more than the real face beneath it. They cheer for your smile, but they vanish when you cry. They crave your strength, but turn away when you show weakness. You gave your all to people, your loyalty, your time, your love. But when you needed them most, where were they? Silent, gone, like they were never really there. That is the cruel truth. They never planned to stay. They only came to take what they could, to drain your energy, your hope, your dignity. And when you had nothing left to give, they tossed you aside like an empty bottle. And you foolishly believed they were different. Believed they cared. That belief cut the deepest because it was built on lies. They knew how to pretend just well enough to keep you close, but their concern was never real. But listen closely. Your pain is not wasted. Every betrayal, every broken promise, every tear you shed has been a lesson. Pain is the only thing that always speaks the truth. Happiness can deceive you into thinking good times will last forever. Love can fool you into believing people mean what they say. But pain? Pain is brutally honest. It shows you that people can change, that love can fade, that loyalty is rare, and trust is fragile. Pain teaches you to stop expecting perfection from anyone, and to depend more on yourself than on others. When you accept the harsh truth, you become something else entirely. Think about the strongest individuals you have ever known or heard about. They did not earn their strength by living a cushy life. No, they were hardened through loss, abandonment, and moments where surrender seemed easier than survival. Real toughness is forged in fire, not in comfort. It is about getting back up after being knocked down so hard you see stars, and doing it because there is no other choice. That resilience builds character, and that character becomes unbreakable. Right now, you may feel trapped in a dark pit, surrounded by broken trust, shattered hopes, and disappointment. It is heavy, so heavy that surrender tempts you. But this moment is a test. Will you let despair become your master, or will you rise? Starting over does not mean pretending everything is sunshine and rainbows. It does not mean forgiving too quickly or forgetting too easily. It means becoming more resilient, smarter about who gains access to your life, and learning how to shield yourself. It means finding peace in solitude and refusing to explain yourself to every fool who questions your silence. You do not need to change who you are to fit into someone else's narrow view of the world. You are not here to bend for them. You are here to endure, to sharpen, to rise. Consider the wild animal that suffers an injury. It does not cry for help or beg for pity. It endures quietly, and either it heals or it dies. That is how nature operates: survive or perish. You face the same choice. You can recover, grow stronger, and become untouchable. Or you can let pain consume you until nothing remains. If you are still here, still breathing, it is because you have already chosen. You have chosen to heal. You have chosen to turn pain into power and silence into your most lethal weapon. And here is the cruel twist. The very people who hurt you will tremble when they see the version of you that has emerged. They will watch from a distance, wondering how you survived when they thought you were finished. They will regret underestimating you. They will feel shame for walking away from someone who refused to stay broken. But you will not need to chase them or seek revenge. Living well, standing tall, and showing the strength you have gained will be enough. Your resilience will be their nightmare, something they cannot erase or undo. Many believe that suffering makes a person weak. That is a lie. Suffering, when faced head-on, makes you more formidable than you ever imagined. The weak are those who cling to false hopes, waiting for others to fix what is broken. They hold on to illusions, dreams, and people who are already gone. But when you have cried your last tear, whispered your last silent prayer, and realized that no one is coming to save you, nothing remains for anyone to take. That moment is liberation. It is the end of needing approval, the end of craving validation. The part of you that once sought acceptance finally burns away. You are not weak because you are broken. You are free. Free from illusions, free from false hopes, free from the poison of trusting the wrong people. And when you are free from all that, you become untouchable. Imagine a piece of fragile glass, delicate, transparent, trusting. You handed it over, hoping others would handle it with care. Instead, they dropped it and shattered it into countless shards. There you were, trying to pick up the pieces, hurt but determined. But here is the truth. Those shards are sharper than ever. They can cut deep, and they are dangerous. That is you now. You do not bend under pressure anymore. You do not crack easily. You are a warning sign, something people should think twice about before crossing. The world will tell you that healing means returning to what you once were. That is a lie. You cannot go back, and you should not. The person you were before is the reason you were broken. Too trusting, too open, too willing to give away pieces of yourself. Healing is not about softening again. It is about becoming tougher, colder, smarter. Wearing your scars proudly and saying, yes, I was broken, and look at me now. Some will criticize your transformation. They will call you cold, claim you are not the same person anymore. Good. That is proof you survived. Why stay the same after being burned? Why smile as if everything is fine after being stabbed in the back? Pain demands change. And if others cannot accept the new version of you, that is their burden, not yours. Let them choke on the version of you they created when they shattered your trust. Here is the bitter truth. The people who left you bleeding do not lose sleep over it. They do not sit awake at night feeling guilty or regretful. They move on, they laugh, they act as if you never mattered. Meanwhile, you replay every betrayal, every careless word, every moment they abandoned you. But enough of that. It is over now. You owe them nothing. No tears, no pain, no explanations. They took enough from you already. Why give them more? From now on, every tear should be fuel. Every scar should be proof of survival. Every painful moment should be a weapon, something that makes you stronger, sharper, more dangerous. The thing that truly terrifies others is not your anger or your desire for revenge. It is your silence. When you stop explaining, stop chasing, stop begging, when you become silent, they realize they have lost control. Silence is rebellion. Silence is strength. Silence is the quiet power no one can take away. When you finally step into that silence, they will see you as you truly are, unstoppable. That is when they will understand the price of betraying someone who endured and refused to be broken. But by then, it will be too late. You will not care about their regrets or their apologies. You will be too busy building your life, stronger and wiser than ever, while they are left staring from the sidelines. Sometimes you wonder why life had to be so cruel. Why you gave your heart only to have it shattered into pieces. Why you remained loyal to people who treated loyalty like garbage. Why you sacrificed your time, your peace, your sanity, only to find yourself drained and empty. But here is the truth. Those experiences did not destroy you. They built you. They sharpened your edge, toughened your resolve, and made you ready for whatever comes next. You are not fragile. You are not weak. You are a survivor, scarred, hardened, and prepared. The only question left is whether you will let those scars define you or empower you. The choice is yours. The strength is already within you. All that remains is for you to claim it. Let me lay something out straight. The people who did you wrong, who left you feeling crushed, do not lie awake at night obsessing over your pain. They do not sit around feeling guilty, wishing they had treated you better. They move on. They laugh. They act as if you never mattered. Meanwhile, you replay every word, every gesture, every betrayal like a broken record. You carried the weight of their indifference, felt the sting of their betrayal, all for people who never cared. That pain belongs to the past now. You do not owe those who hurt you any more of your sadness. You do not owe them your tears, your heartbreak, or your suffering. They already took enough. Your trust, your peace, your sense of safety. Why give them permission to take even more? From this moment forward, let every ounce of sadness serve as a reminder that you are still standing, still fighting, still capable of rising even when everything inside screams to give up. Do you want to know what truly terrifies people? It is not your anger. It is not your desire for revenge. It is not even your tears or the urge to strike back. What rattles them most is your silence. When you stop trying to explain yourself, stop chasing their approval, stop begging them for understanding, when you simply go quiet, people lose their grip. Silence is the loudest statement of all. It shows you have accepted the brutal truth, that you no longer rely on others' validation. Silence tells everyone you are no longer their puppet, that you are quietly preparing for something greater. When you reappear, it will not be with tears or pleas. It will be with strength they never saw coming. That is the moment they realize what they lost when they chose to hurt someone loyal and kind. But by then, you will be so far ahead, they will not matter. Sometimes, late at night, doubts creep in. You wonder why it had to be you. Why you gave your heart only to have it shattered. Why you stayed loyal to people who treated loyalty as optional. Why you invested your time, your energy, your peace into people who left you with nothing but disappointment. Here is the harsh reality. Life is not fair. The universe does not care how much you loved, how hard you fought, or how deserving you were of kindness. You can be the noblest soul alive and still be burned by those you trusted most. That is the brutal truth. No matter your intentions, some will use you, betray you, and walk away without a second thought. But listen carefully. This does not mean your love, your kindness, or your integrity are worthless. It means those who hurt you were never worthy of them. Your value does not diminish because they failed to see it. Just because someone treated you badly does not mean you are unworthy. It simply means they were not right for you. The right ones will recognize your worth. The wrong ones will only drain it. Do you understand why the pain cuts so deep? It is not only because they left or betrayed you. It is because you believed they would stay. You believed in their promises, in the illusion of permanence. You held on to hope that what you had was real and lasting. But that was the greatest mistake. Believing in forever in a world that only teaches lessons about impermanence. People change, feelings fade, promises dissolve like ice in the sun. That is why you feel broken, because you dared to believe in forever. But that hope is not weakness. It is your greatest strength. Despite knowing how cruel life can be, you still chose to love, to trust, to believe. That takes courage. That shows humanity. And now, having faced the bitter truth, you learn this: the only person who will never leave you is the one staring back in the mirror. When you accept that, when you stop chasing false promises from those who only offer temporary comfort, you finally find freedom. Think about all those nights when everything felt like it was falling apart. All those days when you carried sadness alone, with no one to share it. Nobody knocked on your door and said, "Let me take some of this burden." It was always just you, alone with your pain. And that is exactly what pain wants to teach. Stop waiting for someone else to save you. Stop expecting people to love you the way you love them. Stop waiting for apologies that will never come. Life is not about fairness. It is about scars. And scars are not marks of failure. They are badges of survival. Every scar is proof that you endured, that you kept going despite everything. Those scars are not something to hide or be ashamed of. They are symbols of resilience. Wear them proudly, because those who caused your wounds thought they were breaking you. Instead, they were making you stronger. They believed they were destroying you, but what they created is someone who no longer fears losing others, someone who does not beg or wait around for approval. That new version of you is the one they never saw coming. When those same people come back, they will see someone different, someone who does not back down, does not forgive so easily, and certainly does not get hurt the same way again. You did not deserve what happened to you. No one does. Lies, betrayal, abandonment. These are not meant to be part of anyone's story. But just because you deserved better does not mean life will hand it to you. The world is brutal. It takes advantage of innocence, of trust, of kindness. That is why you must be tough. Not cold, but strong enough to protect what matters most: your heart. Some will try to make you feel guilty for becoming distant or quiet. Let them. They were not there when you broke, when you cried in the dark, when you fought to piece yourself back together. Their opinions are irrelevant. You do not owe them explanations or apologies. You owe yourself the right to heal, to become stronger, to stop living in the shadow of those who hurt you. Here is the truth. Feeling pain, crying, feeling lost, these are all part of being human. It is acceptable to feel like the ground has shifted beneath your feet. It is acceptable to be afraid or angry. But do not let that pain define you. Do not let it keep you shattered. Rise, even if it is brutal, even if it is unfair, because if you do not, your pain will become your prison. Your suffering deserves to be fuel, not your downfall. It should ignite the fire inside you to become someone who leaves others trembling. When you feel broken, remember, you are not finished. You are still evolving. Every time you rise, you become stronger, wiser, sharper. The hardest part is not the pain itself. It is how that pain changes how you see the world. Before, you trusted too easily. You believed people when they said they would stay forever. But after being hurt, everything feels suspicious. Every smile might hide a lie. Every promise might be empty. That hurts, yes, but it is the cost of survival. Innocence. That's what you lose when life hits hard. And what do you gain instead? Clarity. You start to see the truth most people don't want to hear. They'd rather cling to fairy tales, pretend everything's perfect. But you've seen too much. You've felt too much. You know better now. You've been through things most can't even imagine. And that's why you feel alone. Because once you've faced betrayal, silence, and scars, you stop believing in perfect people. You stop expecting loyalty to be easy. And that hurts, doesn't it? But it's also survival. It's the cost of living with your eyes open. The people who abandoned you, they don't lose sleep over it. They don't sit awake at night feeling guilty. No, they move on, laugh, act like you never mattered. Meanwhile, you're lying awake, replaying every betrayal, every careless word. But enough of that. It's over now. You owe them nothing. No tears, no apologies, no second thoughts. They already took enough. Why give them more? From now on, every tear is fuel. Every scar is proof. Every broken piece of you is a weapon. The thing that terrifies them isn't your anger. It's your silence. When you stop explaining, stop chasing, stop begging, that's when they realize they've lost control. And when you finally step into that silence, they'll see you differently. Unstoppable. That's when they'll understand the price of messing with someone who endured and refused to stay broken. But by then, too late. You won't care about their regrets or their apologies. You'll be too far ahead, too busy building your life, stronger and wiser than ever. Sometimes you wonder why life had to be so cruel. Why you gave your heart only to have it shattered. Why you stayed loyal to people who treated loyalty like garbage. Why you sacrificed your peace, your sanity, only to end up drained. But here's the truth. Those experiences didn't destroy you. They built you. They sharpened your edge. They made you ready for whatever comes next. You're not fragile. You're not weak. You're a survivor, scarred, hardened, and prepared. You know what hurts the most? It's not just the betrayal. It's realizing you gave pieces of yourself to people who never planned to stay. You handed them trust, loyalty, love, and they treated it like it was disposable. That's the kind of pain that makes you question everything. But here's the thing. You survived it. You're still here. And that survival changes you. It makes you sharper, colder, less willing to hand your heart over so easily. They thought they broke you. What they really did was forge you into something they can't touch anymore. People will say you've changed. They'll whisper that you're colder now, harder to reach. Good. That's proof you've learned. Why should you stay the same after being burned? Why should you smile like nothing happened when you were stabbed in the back? Pain demands transformation. And if they don't like the new version of you, let them choke on the one they created. They shaped this hardened version when they shattered your trust. They don't get to complain about the monster they built. Here's the bitter truth. The ones who hurt you don't lose sleep over it. They don't sit awake at night feeling guilty. They laugh. They move on. They act like you never mattered. Meanwhile, you replay every betrayal, every careless word, every moment of abandonment. But enough of that. It's done. You owe them nothing. No tears, no explanations, no apologies. They already took enough from you. Why give them more? From now on, every scar is proof you endured. Every tear is fuel. Every broken piece of you is a weapon. You know what the hardest part is? It's not the pain itself. It's how that pain changes the way you see the world. Before, you trusted too easily. You believed people when they said they'd stay forever. You thought promises meant something. But after betrayal, every smile feels suspicious. Every promise feels empty. That's the cost of survival. And yet, here you are, still breathing, still standing. That's proof you're stronger than they ever imagined. They thought they were ending you. What they really did was awaken you. Pain teaches you things no book ever could. It teaches you who deserves your loyalty and who doesn't. It teaches you that silence can be louder than shouting. It teaches you that scars are not shame, they're armor. The ones who hurt you will never understand that. They'll look at you and wonder why you don't bend anymore, why you don't forgive so easily, why you don't break the same way twice. And the answer is simple. Because you learned. Because you endured. Because you refused to stay broken. Here's the truth. You didn't deserve what happened. No one does. Lies, betrayal, abandonment, those are weapons of cowards. But just because you deserved better doesn't mean life will hand it to you. The world is brutal. It takes advantage of innocence, of kindness, of trust. That's why you must be tough. Not cruel, but strong enough to guard your heart. And if people call you cold for protecting yourself, let them. They weren't there when you cried in the dark. They weren't there when you fought to piece yourself back together. Their opinions don't matter. What matters is that you survived. And survival is the loudest victory of all. Here's the thing about scars. They don't fade just because you want them to. They stay. They remind you of every betrayal, every night you cried alone, every time you thought you couldn't go on. And at first, that feels like punishment. But over time, you realize those scars are proof. Proof you endured. Proof you survived. Proof you're still here. The ones who caused those scars thought they were breaking you. What they really did was carve strength into your skin. Every mark is a warning. You don't break the same way twice. You know what silence does. It unsettles people. They expect you to scream, to beg, to explain yourself. But when you go quiet, when you stop chasing, stop pleading, that's when they panic. Silence is rebellion. Silence is power. Silence is the moment they realize they've lost control. They'll wonder why you don't answer their calls, why you don't respond to their guilt. And the truth is simple. You don't owe them anything. Not your words, not your time, not your forgiveness. Silence is your victory. Sometimes you'll feel the weight of it all. The loneliness, the mistrust, the scars. You'll wonder if it was worth it, if survival is enough. And in those moments, remember this: you are not fragile. You are not weak. You are forged. The world tried to break you, but you endured. You turned pain into armor, silence into a weapon, scars into strength. That's not just survival. That's transformation. And transformation is the one thing they can never take from you. You know what survival really means. It means you stopped waiting for someone else to fix you. It means you stopped begging for apologies that were never coming. It means you looked at the wreckage, at the scars, at the silence, and you decided to rise anyway. That's not weakness. That's power. The ones who thought they broke you will never understand how much strength it takes to rebuild yourself from nothing. They'll see you standing tall and wonder how you did it. But you'll know. You did it alone. Pain changes everything. It changes how you trust, how you love, how you see the world. Before you believed in forever, you thought promises meant something, but betrayal taught you otherwise. Now, every word feels like it might be a lie. Every smile feels like it might hide a knife. That's the cost of survival. But here's the twist. That suspicion, that caution, it's not weakness. It's armor. It's the shield that keeps you from being broken the same way twice. You're not naive anymore. You're sharper. You're harder to fool. And that's exactly what makes you dangerous. Some will call you cold. Some will say you've changed. Good. That's proof you've learned. Why stay the same after being burned? Why smile like nothing happened when you were stabbed in the back? Pain demands transformation. And if they don't like the new version of you, let them choke on the one they created. They shaped this hardened version when they shattered your trust. They don't get to complain about the monster they built. So, let's be honest. The world didn't just bruise you. It tried to crush you. And yet, here you are, still breathing, still standing. That's not luck. That's resilience. You carried pain that would have broken most, but you turned it into armor. And when they see you now, they'll wonder how you survived. They'll wonder why you don't bend anymore, why you don't forgive so easily. The answer is simple. Because you learned. Because you endured. Because you refused to stay broken. That's the truth. And it doesn't fade. Well, here's the cruel reality. The ones who hurt you, they don't sit awake at night feeling guilty. They laugh. They move on. They act like you never mattered. Meanwhile, you carried the weight of their betrayal like a stone on your chest. But enough of that. It's over. You don't owe them your tears. You don't owe them your explanations. You don't owe them your forgiveness. They already took enough from you. Why give them more? From now on, every scar is proof you endured. Every silence is rebellion. Every step forward is victory. And that victory is yours alone. Listen. Sometimes you'll feel the loneliness, the mistrust, the scars pressing down. You'll wonder if survival is enough. But survival isn't the end. It's the beginning. It's the foundation for transformation. You are not fragile. You are not weak. You are forged. The world tried to break you, but you endured. You turned pain into armor, silence into a weapon, scars into strength. That's not just survival. That's transformation. And transformation is the one thing they can never take from you. That's the truth, and you know it. So, here's the truth. Feeling pain, crying, feeling lost, those aren't signs of weakness. They're signs you're human. It's acceptable to feel like the ground has shifted beneath your feet. It's acceptable to be afraid, to be angry. But don't let that pain define you. Don't let it keep you shattered. Rise, even if it's brutal, even if it's unfair. Because if you don't, your pain becomes your prison. Your suffering deserves to be fuel, not your downfall. It should ignite the fire inside you, the fire that makes you someone others can't ignore. That's survival. And survival is victory. Well, let's talk about scars. They're not marks of failure. They're badges of endurance. Every scar says, I lived through this. I carried it. And I'm still here. That's not shame. That's proof. Proof you endured what others couldn't. And when people see those scars, they'll call you hardened, maybe even cold. But you know the truth. Those scars are your armor. They're the reason you don't break the same way twice. They thought they were destroying you. What they really did was forge you into something untouchable. Listen, silence is louder than shouting. When you stop explaining, stop chasing, stop begging, that's when people realize they've lost control. Silence unsettles them. It makes them wonder what you're planning, what you're becoming. And that's the point. Silence is rebellion. Silence is strength. They'll wonder why you don't answer, why you don't respond to their guilt. And the truth is simple. You don't owe them anything. Not your words, not your time, not your forgiveness. Silence is your victory. And victory is the only language they'll understand. So, betrayal doesn't just break trust. It poisons the way you see the world. Before, you thought love was eternal, promises unshakable. But betrayal, it's like drinking from a cup you didn't know was poisoned. Every word after tastes bitter. Every smile feels like a mask. And yet, you're still here, still breathing, still standing. They thought they buried you. What they really did was plant you. And now you rise, sharper, stronger, impossible to uproot. That's the truth. And it endures. Well, silence isn't emptiness. It's a storm held inside your chest. When you stop explaining, stop chasing, stop begging, that silence becomes thunder. It shakes the ground beneath those who betrayed you. They'll wonder why you don't answer, why you don't respond to their guilt. And the truth is simple. Silence is sharper than any blade. It cuts deeper than words. Silence is your rebellion, your strength, your victory. And victory always speaks last. Listen, survival isn't the finish line. It's the forge. Pain doesn't just scar you. It reshapes you. It takes your innocence, melts it down, and reforges it into armor. You are not fragile. You are not weak. You are tempered. The world tried to break you, but instead it sharpened you. And now you carry scars like runes carved into your body, each one a spell of endurance. That's transformation. And transformation is eternal. So, here's the truth. The people who hurt you don't sit awake at night feeling guilty. They laugh. They move on. They act like you never mattered. Meanwhile, you carried their betrayal like a stone on your chest. But that weight, it's not yours anymore. You don't owe them your tears. You don't owe them your explanations. You don't owe them your forgiveness. They already took enough from you. Why give them more? From now on, every scar is proof you endured. Every silence is rebellion. Every step forward is victory. And that victory is yours alone. That's the truth. And it stands. So, survival is the seed, not the tree. It's the beginning of growth, not the end. Pain waters that seed. Silence shields it. Scars mark its bark. And from that seed rises something unbreakable. You are not the same as before. You are rooted, armored, alive. The world tried to cut you down, but you grew taller. That's not just survival. That's rebirth. And rebirth is the one thing they can never take. Listen, scars don't fade because you want them to. They stay. They remind you of every betrayal, every night you cried alone, every time you thought you couldn't go on. At first, that feels like punishment. But over time, you realize those scars are proof. Proof you endured. proof you survived. Proof you're still here. The ones who caused those scars thought they were breaking you. What they really did was carve strength into your skin. Every mark is a warning. You don't break the same way twice. That's survival. And survival is victory. And victory is final. Listen, betrayal is like fire. It burns away illusions, melts down trust, and leaves only ash. You used to believe in forever, but now you know forever can vanish in a single lie. That knowledge hurts, but it also protects. They thought they ended you. What they really did was temper you like steel in flame. You're not naive anymore. You're forged, and forged steel doesn't bend. That's survival, and survival is permanent. Listen, scars are not chains. They're battle runes. Each one is a symbol of strength, a mark of resilience. They don't fade because they're meant to remind you. You've already faced the storm and survived. The ones who left those marks thought they were breaking you. Instead, they inscribed your legend. Every scar is proof you don't fall the same way twice. That's survival. And survival is triumph. And triumph is eternal. So, silence is not weakness. It's the blade you keep sheathed until the right moment. When you stop speaking, stop defending, stop pleading, that silence becomes a weapon. It unsettles. It terrifies. It reminds them they've lost control. They'll call it cold, but you know its power. Silence is the language of survivors. Silence is the roar they can't silence. And that roar is final. So, survival was never the destination. It was the path. Every scar, every silence, every betrayal carried you here. And now, you stand not as the broken one, but as the forged one. You are tempered steel, sharpened by fire. They thought they ended you. What they really did was awaken you. And now, you rise, not just alive, but unbreakable. That's the truth, and it stands. Listen. Pain carved lessons into your bones. Silence taught you power. Scars became your armor. And now, you are more than a survivor. You are a warrior. The world tried to bury you, but you grew roots. You grew taller. You grew stronger. That's not just survival. That's transformation. And transformation is eternal. Well, here's the final truth. You don't owe anyone your forgiveness. You don't owe anyone your softness. You don't owe anyone your old self. What you owe is to yourself. To live, to rise, to carry your scars like banners. Let them call you cold. Let them call you changed. They don't understand that change is the proof you endured. And endurance is victory. So, when they look at you now, they'll see someone different. They'll see someone harder, sharper, untouchable. And they'll wonder what happened. The answer is simple. You survived. You endured. You transformed. Survival is not weakness. It is the loudest roar. And that roar will echo long after they're gone. Listen, scars are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of your legend. Each mark is proof you faced the storm and rose again. Each silence is proof you refused to break. Each breath is proof you are still here. That's not just survival. That's triumph. And triumph is eternal. Well, the ones who betrayed you will fade. Their names will be forgotten. Their laughter will die in the wind. But you will remain. You will carry your scars into tomorrow. You will carry your silence into eternity. They thought they wrote your ending. What they really did was write your beginning. And beginnings are forever. So, here's the legacy. You are not defined by betrayal. You are not defined by scars. You are defined by endurance. You are defined by transformation. You are defined by the roar that says, I survived. Survival is not the end. It is the crown. And that crown is yours. Listen, the world will always test you. Pain will always return. Betrayal will always lurk. But you are not the same as before. You are forged. You are armored. You are unbreakable. Let them try. Let them fail. You don't fall the same way twice. That's the truth. And it endures. Well, scars, silence, survival, they were never curses. They were gifts. They were the forge that made you who you are. And now, you carry them not as burdens, but as weapons. You are not fragile. You are not weak. You are forged, and forged steel does not bend. That's victory, and victory is final. So, this is the end of the saga. You began as broken, betrayed, scarred. But you rose, you endured, you transformed. And now, you stand as proof that survival is not weakness, it is triumph. They thought they destroyed you. What they really did was carve your legend. And legends do not die. They echo, they endure, they roar across time. This is your roar. This is your crown. This is your victory. And victory is eternal.